Hollow Knight versus Silksong. Whenever I get this question, I always say, it feels like being asked, which child do you like better? Well, then they proceed to ask why I like children, but we're getting off topic. So instead of comparing the two games with their flaws, I instead just want to look at the games and find some interesting differences. And as I started looking at them, I realized something. There are a lot of contrasts when comparing these games. So, today we are looking at 6 things in Hollow Knight and Silksong that are opposite. Number 1. The world itself. This one is very obvious, but then also very overlooked, I feel. If you were not aware, in a Hollow Knight, the starting position is actually located at the surface of almost the entire map. Now there's nothing too out of place with that fact by itself, but compared to the sequel, there is a large difference. For you see, in Silksong, you start at, quite literally, the bottom of the map. And in order to even reach the surface, you literally have to wait until the very end of the game. Now okay, that's one opposite fact. I'm sure it's a coincidence, is what I would never say. For if we look at the pathing of True Ending, it is almost completely opposite. But let's start with Silksong. So, once you get out of the starting area, your main quest is to literally just ascend. And once you do reach the final destination, Granny Silk, and have True Ending, the game just hits you with an Uno reverse card and says, go straight back down. Compared to Hollow Knight, where you start at the very top and are tasked with descending to complete the goals. Then once you do that, you have to ascend back up to fight the Hollow Knight. Plus, in True Ending, the final phase of Radiance is to literally ascend to the top and defeat it. Coincidence? I think not. Not to mention, the literal trailers say ascend for Silksong and descend for Hollow Knight. But anyways, number 2. The map. Now, this one is less likely planned out that way, but if you look at the Hollow Knight map next to Silksong, you may start to notice something. Which is Silksong is much more horizontal compared to Hollow Knight's verticality. Now, Silksong definitely has some big vertical sections, but a lot more long paths. Why? Well, I think I might have the answer. In Farloom, the kingdom is laid out for maximum efficiency, so having straightaway roads to carry supplies is definitely the right move, compared to Hollow Knight's more random and therefore more vertical sections layout. Number 3. Also, if you enjoyed this video at any point, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps out a lot. Thanks. The music. Now, I am not a music expert, and I definitely suck at making it, but I did find something interesting. The overall vibes. Now, as to the vibes of the world, we will get into that soon, but right now, I am looking at the beats and rises of the music. Let's look at the music for the Marrow, for instance. As you can hear, it starts low, then it goes high. Compared to Hollow Knight's Dirtmouth, where it starts high and then goes low. Now, this is not for all of the songs, but give the OST a listen, and I think you will start to notice a pattern with these songs. Number 4. The colors. Now, I am also no artist, but when comparing the two games, there is a very big difference in colors. Hollow Knight seems to have this blue filter on literally everything. Even in lively places like Green Path have this blue look to them. Versus Silksong, that seems to have no filter at all. Most places are just very vibrant, such as Far Fields and Hunter's March. This is also very obvious when you compare Hornet from Hollow Knight and Hornet from Silksong. The dress is just so different. And now, bringing number 3 and number 4 together, we get number 5, which is the liveliness. I think it's without a doubt certain that Silksong feels more alive than Hollow Knight. Firstly, let's just talk about the NPCs. In Silksong, there are too many to even say them all, whereas in Hollow Knight, only has like 6 notable ones. Not only that, but the NPCs in Silksong are always so happy. The Builder and Bone Bottom smiling all the time, the Mayor and Bellheart is always singing, and we can't forget Sherma, the literal goat who is always playing his bell. But if we look at Hollow Knight, the only really joyful ones seem to be Quirrell and Cornifer, with Elderbug and Cornifer's wife seeming down a lot of the time. Also, Hornet can improve the world through quests and donations, which really makes it feel more alive than Hollow Knight. But that's not a bad thing. Hollow Knight has such a good lonely vibe, which really fits the world you are in. For Silksong takes place right before a disaster, and Hollow Knight takes place years afterward. Once you add on the colors of the world and the music, these two games feel so different that I would argue that they are even opposites. And now finally, the number 6th reason why Silksong and Hollow Knight are opposite, the one everyone has been waiting for, years and years of advanced game knowledge only known by me, is about to release. Ladies and gentlemen, this fact is kept more secret than the Epstein files, so make sure to shut your blinds, turn off the lights, and keep this secret. Drumroll, please. Yeah, so Hornet is looking right in the Steam store page, whereas the Knight is looking left.